All right. My name's Scott Fell. I'm here with the Understanding Project, and I've got Ed Allen with me. Mr. Allen, how are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing fine.
Hey, so just want to kind of get a little bit about your background. So just tell me a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I was born in Hinesville, Georgia. My father was in the military, and he sent us to Pennsylvania to live with my grandmother. So I spent a lot of my life up in Pennsylvania, and then we moved back to Georgia, and that's where we remained until I got out of high school, and I joined the Air Force. And I've lived in the Philippines and in Korea, North Carolina, Florida, and Georgia. And then I got out of the Air Force, and I'm married, and I have 2 daughters. Been married 33 years, and I'm currently still working right now. And I live in Phoenix City, Alabama.
Okay, so that's kind of a lot to unpack. So how old are you?
I'm 56.
56. So you said you went to live with your grandmother in Pennsylvania for a little while. How old were you at that point?
Wow. We were, I was maybe 3 years old. My father went to Vietnam right after I was born. So I was like 3 years old, and we stayed there a little while because my sisters, because me and my sisters were there.
So how many sisters? You said sisters. How many sisters do you have?
I have 4 sisters. One is deceased. I have an older sister who's retired, and I have 2 other sisters that live nearby here.
Okay. So
and I have a brother who's deceased. I have a brother who's deceased now.
So how old was your brother when he passed?
He passed. We're 14 years apart, so he passed last year.
Okay.
Suddenly, we were born on the same day.
Really?
Yes.
That's pretty unique.
Yes. Took a piece of me with him.
So I didn't hear you mention your mother. So where was your mother during this?
My mother moved. My mother went with us to Pennsylvania, and she stayed. We all stayed together, and then we went back again to take care of my father's aunt. She had gotten very ill, and we moved back up there again, and we took care of her. And I really enjoyed that. It was like we were in a community surrounded by Italian people, Polish people. There was like the neighborhood stores right down the street. We used to walk to school. I really liked that. That was Americana where we were living, so to speak.
So what part of Pennsylvania were you like in? So you sounds like you were in a pretty tight little town.
Yeah, we were. My grandmother lived outside of Pittsburgh, but my aunt, she lived in this little town called Monessen, and everybody there basically worked at the steel mill, United States Steel. They all worked at the steel mill, and we could stand on the porch and look down in the valley and see the mill. Because Pennsylvania is very hilly, so everybody lives on a hill up there basically. But it was a small little town, but everybody worked at the mill. Everybody. And
so you said you were there did you say you were there for about 3 years? Is that right?
Yes, off and on. Then we went to Germany. My father got assigned to Germany, and we joined him in Germany.
So I just want to kind of establish a timeline. So how old do you think you were whenever you went to Pennsylvania?
First time I was 3 years old. Then we came to Georgia. Then we went back. I was probably 7 or 8 years old.
7 or 8 years old, and then you were there for roughly 3 years at that point, or was it 3 years the first time?
3 years the first time, maybe a year and a half the second time. Then we went to Germany with my father, and we stayed over there 3 years.
Okay, and you said that the town itself was, I guess, fairly diverse.
It was very diverse. Everybody I mean, everybody was there. The lady who ran the store, she was Jewish. I remember because my mother would give me a list, and I would take it down there and give it to her, and she would help me, you know, get everything that she asked for. And people next door were Italian. Everybody. I mean, there's a little bit of everybody that was there. I really enjoyed my time there. I enjoyed my time there.
And so, so as far as, so there's a very diverse background.
Yes.
What were the relationships between the different cultures like in that area?
Everybody, I think everybody basically got along. You know, everybody in the neighborhood shopped at Miss Ossovich's store, so she knew everybody in the neighborhood. Everybody knew the milkman. That's back when they used to leave it at the back door. My aunt would leave a note for him what we wanted, and he'd leave it out there. Everybody knew everybody, and of course, everybody worked at the mill. So that's, you know, hey, it was very tight knit, community, and everybody knew my father because he went to high school there.
Okay. So, what about, you said you moved from there to Germany?
Yeah, we went to Germany. My father got assigned to Germany. We went over there. We stayed over there 3 years.
So what was that like?
It was a shock to the system because, you know, we were so used to being around my grandmother now, and then boom, we were gone. And we couldn't speak the language. I couldn't speak the language. We were basically confined to the base. We couldn't go anywhere. You couldn't go anywhere because you couldn't speak the language. But every now and then they would take us on field trips. We go down. Back then they called it the economy. When you go off base, it's called the economy. We would go downtown. They take us to these museums and castles. Then we started going swimming. But it was weird because we didn't know the language. But you know, everything else over there, like Germans like being outside. They like the outdoors. So they have like these guest houses in the woods. The country's beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
So this was, I guess, probably in the 70s?
In the 70s. Yes, in the 70s.
Okay.
We came back. We came back here in, I believe, 76. And we moved to Fort Benning.
Okay, so that's when you came to Fort Benning, and have you pretty much been in the Columbus, Georgia, Phoenix City, Alabama area since then?
Yeah, since then, until I left to go to the Air Force, we had been there. We lived on post for a little while. Then my father bought a house, and we moved off post. And that was my first exposure to public school. Because DOD school and public school is very different. Very different.
How so?
DOD schools are more diverse because you have everybody, whereas public school is like where we live. I went to a predominantly black junior high and high school. I wasn't used to that, so that was a shock to my system when I got in there because I wasn't used to being around just exclusively one group of people. Whereas when you go to school on post, you're around everybody. Everybody lives next door to everybody. I think the service is the best. Is the best way to get people to, I guess, integrate or deal with each other.
Okay. So that's where you were at through your high school years. So how did what would you say the atmosphere, what was it like at that time?
I didn't like where I was going to school. All my friends that lived on Fort Benning were going to Spencer. That's where all the Army kids went. I wanted to go over there with them. I didn't like junior high or high school. I enjoyed high school probably my last year up there, but otherwise I didn't like it because I wasn't used to being around exclusively one group, and I hadn't been around. So I was told a lot of times, you don't act like you're black, or you don't talk like you black. And to this day, that really gets under my skin when I hear somebody say that. And my kids the same way. You know, they went out here. The school out here is predominantly white, so most of their friends are predominantly white. My daughter went to Auburn University. The majority of blacks at Auburn University are either athletes mostly. So they had to deal with that as well.
Okay. So, anything else, any other experiences kind of during your high school years that that kind of shaped your thoughts and opinions?
I don't know. I was just very unhappy junior high and high school because I just wasn't used to that atmosphere. I was very unhappy. And that's probably why I wanted to leave here, and I did. When I signed up for the Air Force while I was still in school, so I wanted to get out of here. But then, hey, I'm back.
Okay. Well, I don't want to. I mean, I certainly don't want to pry, but
Go ahead.
so, I mean, you keep saying you were unhappy. You were unhappy. What were you so? I mean, why were you so unhappy? You just didn't fit in socially. You didn't.
I did not fit in socially. And then when you're someone that you're my size, you're expected to be this athlete, and I was not.
Right. So
that just added to the pain already.
So for those people that don't know you, Ed, you're what, 6'9"?
I'm 6'8". Thank you for the experience. I'm 6'8".
6'8". You might have used to have been 6'9" when you were younger.
Probably.
But so you're 6'9", and so you're a pretty good sized guy, especially.
Yeah, I was always the biggest person. I was always the biggest person. Wherever I went, I was always the biggest person.
So they were always expecting you to be the center on the basketball team, and that just
exactly. If someone sees someone that's tall, they don't take the time to get to know you as a person. They look at you as you're supposed to be this athlete. You're supposed to be this. They don't ask you anything else about you. They go straight to sports.
Okay. And so that was not your interest. So what were your interests?
You know what? I really liked football. I enjoyed that more than basketball because I was bigger, so I could knock you down. I enjoyed that, but basketball not so much. I've almost got my eye put out, teeth missing, because people I guess feel like they got to prove something when somebody's big on the court. I didn't really enjoy basketball until I joined the Air Force, and we were places where there was nothing to do on the weekends but go do that. So I would go do that. But football, I enjoy football more so than anything, and I still do. I still enjoy football. I find myself looking more so at what's going on at the line, because that was my area. Looking at what the line is doing as opposed to what the receivers are doing, what the quarterback is doing. I'm looking at the line to see what they're doing, because we all know that wins championships.
That's right. That's where you win and lose.
That's right, in them trenches, right there in the trenches.
Okay, so you were in the so you went into the Air Force straight out of high school. How long were you in the Air Force?
I stayed in 10 years. I got out under the first forced drawdown. They had 20 people in, so they were asking people to leave, and I said, okay, I'll do it. I stayed in 10 years. I enjoyed it. I have made some friends for life in there, white and black, friends for life. We still communicate with each other, and we just pick up right where we left off. It's like we were never apart.
Right.
And I think what it was, because a lot of us we became men together. We were young guys away from home, and we became men together. We drank together. We ran the bars. We did all that stuff together. We just became men together. So that's probably this brotherhood that we have with each other.
Okay. So when you were in the military, it sounds like you really enjoyed the military as a child, and then as an adult whenever you joined.
It was an easy transition. I was already used to it by being around my father. And I think to this day, I am drawn to people my parents associated with when we were little. I'm drawn to those people. It's just something different. And more so when you have like one or two military guys working together and we find out about it, we immediately click. For example, like me and Kevin Rust, we were both ex-military. We clicked immediately because It's some kind of brotherhood you have with someone else who has served. And it's only people that serve know what I'm talking about. It's a brotherhood, especially, and the people you meet, you know, y'all, they're like your family, so to speak. Because they are your family when you're away from your family. When you have nobody, you have them.
Okay.
So I enjoyed it. I was insulated from a lot of stuff that was going on the outside. I didn't understand what was going on the outside until I got on the outside, and I was able to see, okay, this is what everybody's talking about. But under the military, you're kind of insulated from all of that because you get ranked, you progress strictly on what you can do, not by what color you are or whatever. You move up the rank by what's up here, what you know, what you can do. It's none of that, you know, hey, my father is related to so-and-so. It's none of that. So I was insulated on the inside. Until I got on the outside. It was very hard transition for me when I got out. First year was very difficult. Because
okay, so let's talk about that.
Okay.
So what, so you're used to the military lifestyle, the brotherhood,
That's right.
It sounds like
order, discipline, order, and the discipline. No gray area.
So it's the way you make it sound, and I want to make sure I understand this, is if there is zero racism and favoritism and those type things in the military. Is that?
Oh no, there is racism, and there is favoritism. That is there. It is there. I'm not going to paint like the military's utopia. I'm going to say, me personally, I never experienced it when I was in, and there were mechanisms in place. If that was there, you could report those people. You know, certain people's their careers are very sensitive. You know, if that's even a question about that, they're going to jump on that quickly.
Gotcha.
But no, it's in there. It's in there. It says I personally didn't have to deal with it too much. You know, I had some very good people in leadership over me when I was in, white and black, male and female, very good people in leadership.
Okay, so let's talk about when you got out.
Yes.
So you got out of the military, and you said the first year was pretty tough.
It was very difficult. It's difficult for all of us when we first get out because we're used to order, used to people being held accountable, you're used to teamwork, and none of that exists out here. It's a lot of backstabbing and favoritism, and there's no order.
Okay.
And there's a lot of bad leadership out here too. And that's one thing military people don't respond to bad leadership. We respond to good leadership. We don't respond to bad leadership.
So, so what year was it when you got out of the military? And
I got out in 92.
92.
Yes.
Okay. So, so you're getting out of the military and you're trying to decide, I guess, what you're going to do with the rest of your life, I guess. So,
yes, I had to find a job immediately. I had a 3-month-old baby. I had to find a job immediately. I didn't hear you.
So you were already married at this time, is that correct?
Yeah. I met Veronique when I was stationed in the Philippines. We got married after she came back to the States. We got married in 86.
Okay. And so, what year were your children born?
Dominique was born in 1988. Alex was born in 92, right when I got out. So I had a 3-month-old baby. I had to find work to do quickly.
Okay, and so what did you end up doing?
I worked for this outfit where we delivered spirits, liquor. I ran a route for them, and I did that maybe 2 years, and then I said I decided I needed to bring home more of what I was getting, so I drove over the road. I went over the road and drove for over the road trucking company. I did that for a while, and I was able to move my family forward and get a house and all that stuff.
Okay.
So I did that.
So you've been driving a truck pretty much ever since you got out of.
No, I was driving a truck in the military too. That's where I learned how to drive. I was in the military.
Okay.
That was my job, transportation.
Okay. Good.